How's it going, you guys? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you find yourself watching this video. So this morning I woke up, I got on X, right, formerly known as Twitter, and Tony Ferguson had posted yet another tweet, another X, about how everything's been going wrong in his training camp, that he's putting others before himself, always coming off as this very genuine, selfless guy. And that is the reason as to why he's been on this losing streak, right? That it's time to put himself first. And let me tell you guys, I'm just tired of this guy. If you look at my library, I had already made a video of his, a video of me talking about Tony Ferguson and just this delusion that he has, right? I even called it his own Uruboros. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. And it seems like it's not stopping. The guy's still on the same thing, giving the same excuses, talking about how selfless he is. Again, you know, coming off as this very great guy. And let me tell you something, I personally don't like Tony Ferguson, and watching Bobby Green take him out like that was very satisfying. That's one of the few times in UFC that I can actually tell you it was very satisfying watching him take a big L like that, a fighter taking a big L like that. And let me tell you why. It started from the beginning. Ever since I first laid eyes on Tony Ferguson and the way he acted, actually, not really just put my eyes on him. I don't judge a book based on its cover, but he just seemed like this very arrogant, egotistical guy, right? People remember him from the Tough Enough show. I think I was still in high school, about to graduate high school when his season came on, and he just rubbed me the wrong way, especially when he was talking about that dude's son, because they trust each other, they talk about family and whatnot, right? And when he's in a drunken stage in his life, you know, and alcohol's not an excuse, he decides to build them on people he hears problems, right? Tony's the kind of guy to offer his shoulder for help or for you to lean on, but the second that you and him are like in bad terms, he uses that ammunition and shoots you with it. Tony Ferguson is that kind of guy. You can't trust him. You really can't. And then he went on this, you know, he won the show. He went on an impressive winning streak. I give him that. He's an exciting fighter. I'm not taking that away from him. I will tune in to a Tony Ferguson fight. Even to this day, I tune into a Tony Ferguson fight. Right? But ever since his second or third loss, I think it was his third loss. I forgot who it was. Maybe Benil Dariush. Can't remember exactly who it was, but he started pretty much posting stupid shit on X about how he purposefully lost because he wanted that Khabib fight and that McGregor fight, and that he was just too high in the rankings. So he purposefully and masterfully planned a couple losses for him to take a couple losses so he could come down in rank and they can finally pair him up against these big money fights, right? And at first someone could say, he's trolling, he's just having fun with it. Good. I mean, I kind of agree. At first I thought that as well. But then after his third loss and going into his fourth fight, he was saying the same thing, right? And there was always this reason, not just a reason why he couldn't properly prepare for a fight, but how that fight didn't even matter to me type of attitude. Like, I threw that fight away. And that's very disrespectful to the people who are actually beating him, because he's not giving these people credit, right? Even after he got knocked out in one of the worst knockouts I've ever seen against Michael Chandler, the guy's still talking about how I didn't really care about the fight. I wasn't motivated or this or that. There's always a reason. There's always an excuse as to why he couldn't perform or why he threw his fight, because that's technically what he's saying, that he's throwing his own fights. And then came the Nate Diaz fight, and he loses that one as well. And going into the Bobby Green fight, there's plenty of interviews. You guys can go look back. He actually states that he's done being a company man, that he's done being a businessman and putting the company first. That, you know, it was Diaz's last fight. Let him walk away with a win. Right? Pretty much implying that I let Nate Diaz have the win. You know, let him have it. That way he can ride off onto the sunset, because that's how much of a good guy I am. That, you know, let him celebrate. I don't buy it, guys. Down to his interviews in pre-fight press conferences with the media. Now, granted, the media people asking questions, a lot of times they're very annoying. I get it. They ask stupid questions. They ask the same goddamn questions, the same recycled questions over and over again every single press conference. They stick in personal business that doesn't pertain to them, but yet they shoot their shot, you know? So I get it sometimes when people, and by people I mean the fighters, get a little agitated with their questioning. But Tony Ferguson is extra rude, even when questions are perfectly logical, in my opinion. Right? So you got a history of this guy just not being trustworthy. If you trust him with something personal, be ready for him to use it against you when you're on your all fours, when you're knocked down. He's gonna shoot you with your own ammo that he built on you, right? He can't accept defeat, which again, in some ways, perfectly understandable. A lot of fighters can't, but they don't make excuses for their losses, right? So you got a guy that cannot just accept and gives another man his props. There's always a reason why he threw the fight, not just didn't perform like I mentioned, not just that, oh, maybe I came in with an injury. No, just I gave him the fight so he can go run off on the sunset, so he can ride off onto the sunset. Oh, you know, I wanted to D-rank so I can fight this guy because they wouldn't let me fight him because I was too high up in the ranks. But yet people still cheer for him, still people applaud him, you know. And like I mentioned, there's nothing wrong with supporting or being excited of watching somebody fight if they are exciting. But I think it's time for people to chill out, because shortly after the Bobby Green loss, you know, I mean, there was people, and I've never seen this before, not even with John Jones, not with Chael Sonnen, not with Tito Ortiz, dude, I've seen it a few times with McGregor, actually, quite a bit of times, but right under McGregor, after the Bobby Green loss, people were actually saying, hey, you know, damn, it's hard to see my hero go down like that, Tony Ferguson. Hero? That kind of guy's your hero? I can understand maybe if you said, one of my favorite fighters, or the most exciting fighters. I'll give you that. But it's just people supporting this guy and putting him up there as if he's some sort of role model. Like I said, Tony Ferguson is just absolutely rude. He's a sore loser, and he's delusional. And he's that guy that's just insane. The true definition of insanity. Doing something over and over and over again, expecting shit to change. It's over for Tony, and I really, really hope for his health, not even me as not liking him, for his health, that he just never fights again. Take care, you guys, and I'll catch you on to the next one.